The silence of a hospital corridor is a different kind of loud than the roar of a sold-out stadium, but tonight, that silence was shattered by the heavy footsteps of a king. Welcome back to Wrestling Apocalypse, the only place where we peel back the medical tape and the polished promos to find the raw, bleeding heart of the industry. If you are watching this right now, your heart is likely still racing from the footage that leaked just hours ago. We are talking about the unimaginable. We are talking about the tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns, walking through the sterile, fluorescent-lit halls of a local trauma center to visit the man he once called his right hand, the man he once broke, and the man who was found crushed under a mountain of steel just days ago on SmackDown. This isn't just a hospital visit, it's a seismic event in the history of the Bloodline. Was this an act of familial love, or was it the final, cold interrogation of a man who has no way to defend himself? Tonight, we go inside that room, and what we've discovered is going to change the way you look at Roman Reigns forever. The atmosphere outside the hospital tonight was suffocating. You had news vans, a handful of stunned fans holding yeet signs in the rain, and a level of security that suggested a world leader was inside. But the real story started the moment a black SUV pulled up to the ambulance bay. There was no music. There was no Paul Heyman flanking him with a title belt. It was just Roman Reigns, draped in a dark hoodie, looking less like a superstar and more like a ghost coming to haunt his own past. Witnesses near the reception desk say the air in the lobby turned ice cold. Roman didn't check in. He didn't ask for directions. He walked with a terrifying, rhythmic precision straight toward the intensive care unit, his eyes fixed forward like he was marching toward a main event he never wanted to fight. To understand the weight of this moment, we have to look back at the carnage of Friday night. Jey Uso wasn't just attacked. He was buried. We saw the footage of those massive production trusses and road cases piled on top of him. The medical reports we've been tracking here at Wrestling Apocalypse are grim: multiple fractured ribs, a potential hairline fracture in his lower back, and a concussion that has left him in a state of fractured consciousness. When Roman reached room 402, he paused at the door. For 60 seconds, the most dominant force in the modern era of wrestling just stood there, his hand on the handle, staring at the small window. One nurse, who spoke to us on the condition of anonymity, said she's never seen a human being look that conflicted. It wasn't the face of a tribal chief, it was the face of a man who realized his empire was built on the broken bones of the people he was supposed to protect. When he finally stepped inside, the scene was cinematic in its tragedy. Jey Uso, the main event, was hooked up to monitors that beeped with a rhythmic, mechanical indifference. He was pale, his neck in a brace, his hands the same hands that have pinned champions resting limp on white sheets. Roman didn't sit down. He walked to the foot of the bed and just watched his cousin breathe. The dialogue that followed wasn't for the cameras, but our sources tell us Roman leaned in close, his voice a low, vibrating growl that barely rose above the hum of the ventilator. He didn't offer an apology. He didn't ask who did this. He looked at Jey and whispered, "I told you what would happen when you left the table. I told you the world was cold." It wasn't a comfort, it was a prophecy fulfilled. The energy in that room was a mix of Shakespearean drama and pure, unadulterated suspense. Backstage on SmackDown, the rumors have been flying like shrapnel. Some superstars are convinced that Roman himself ordered the hit, that the mystery attacker was a proxy for the tribal chief's vengeance. Others think Roman is genuinely terrified that a new, darker force has entered his territory and started picking off his blood to weaken his resolve. If you look at the footage of Roman leaving that room, he didn't look like a man who had found peace. He looked like a man who had seen his own reflection in Jey's broken body and realized the apocalypse wasn't coming for Jey, it was coming for the throne. The fan perspective is absolutely exploding. On every forum from here to Tokyo, people are dissecting the body language. They're pointing out that Roman didn't bring the Ula Fala into the room. They're arguing that this was the real Roman peeking through the cracks of the character. But then you have the skeptics, the people who remember the I Quit matches and the psychological torture Roman put Jey through for years. They say this wasn't a visit of mercy, it was a visit of ownership. Roman was checking his property. He was making sure that even in a hospital bed, Jey Uso remembered who the boss was. The hashtag Bloodline Legacy hashtag is a warzone of opinions tonight, and honestly, both sides have a point. Think about the stakes for the rest of the locker room. If Roman Reigns is visiting Jey, what does that mean for Jimmy? What does it mean for Solo Sikoa, who was seen pacing the hallway of the arena like a caged tiger after the attack? The power structure of the WWE is currently a house of cards in a hurricane. With Jey Uso sidelined, the heart of the blue brand is gone. The person who did this didn't just take out a wrestler, they took out the only man who could bridge the gap between Roman's tyranny and the locker room's rebellion. Whoever buried Jey under that equipment knew exactly what they were doing. They were isolating the king. We've also been digging into some curious backstage insights. Word is that Nick Aldis had a heated confrontation with Roman's security detail at the hospital entrance. Aldis reportedly told Roman that the hospital is neutral ground and that any tribal business had to stay outside those doors. Roman didn't even acknowledge him. He just kept walking. This suggests that the line between the company's authority and Roman's personal sovereignty has officially dissolved. We are living in a world where Roman Reigns believes he is the law, even in a place of healing. The pacing of this story is reaching a fever pitch. We are looking at a collision course for the next premium live event that will likely see Roman address the attack in the center of the ring. But the question remains, will Jey be there to hear it? The doctors are saying the recovery will be long. They're talking about months of physical therapy. But we know Jey. We know the main event isn't just a nickname, it's a state of mind. If there is a way for Jey Uso to crawl out of that hospital bed and find the man who tried to end him, he's going to do it. The only fear is, what if the man he's looking for is the one who just stood at the foot of his bed and told him, "I told you so." This is the drama that keeps us glued to the screen, folks. This is the apocalypse. It's the moment where family, power, and violence all blend into one confusing, heartbreaking mess. We are going to be monitoring Jey's charts 24/7. We have people stationed near the facility, and we are waiting for the first official statement from the USO camp. Was Roman's visit the start of a reunion, or the beginning of the most violent chapter in the Bloodline's history? I want to hear from you. The wrestling apocalypse community is the most insightful in the world, and I know you see the details others miss. Did you see a tear in Roman's eye in that grainy footage, or was it just the reflection of the hospital lights? Do you think Jey is safe in that room, or is Roman the last person he should want to see right now? And most importantly, who is the mystery attacker who caused all of this? Get down in the comments right now and let your voice be heard. We're reading every theory, from the Shield reunion rumors to the new faction whispers. If you're as gripped by this story as we are, hit that like button to show your support for Jey. Let's get his recovery trending. Smash that subscribe button and ring the bell, because we're going to be dropping a deep dive video tomorrow on the hidden clues in the loading dock footage that might actually reveal the attacker's identity. The sirens have stopped for now, the tribal chief has made his move, and the world is waiting for the next heartbeat. I've been your host for Wrestling Apocalypse. Watch your back, stay loud, and we'll see you at the next bell. The silence of a hospital corridor is a different kind of loud than the roar of a sold-out stadium, but tonight, that silence was shattered by the heavy footsteps of a king. Welcome back to Wrestling Apocalypse, the only place where we peel back the medical tape and the polished promos to find the raw, bleeding heart of the industry. If you are watching this right now, your heart is likely still racing from the footage that leaked just hours ago. We are talking about the unimaginable. We are talking about the tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns, walking through the sterile, fluorescent-lit halls of a local trauma center to visit the man he once called his right hand, the man he once broke, and the man who was found crushed under a mountain of steel just days ago on SmackDown. This isn't just a hospital visit, it's a seismic event in the history of the Bloodline. Was this an act of familial love, or was it the final, cold interrogation of a man who has no way to defend himself? Tonight, we go inside that room, and what we've discovered is going to change the way you look at Roman Reigns forever. The atmosphere outside the hospital tonight was suffocating. You had news vans, a handful of stunned fans holding eat signs in the rain, and a level of security that suggested a world leader was inside. But the real story started the moment a black